Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki. Haribo. A little echoey, huh? Sort of echo. Listen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 5, text 15. Can you hear it okay? Clear? Stop here. Very good. So it's Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Nādatte kasyacit pāpaṁ na caiva su-kṛtam vibhu ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānam tena muhyanti jantavaḥ nādatte kasyacit pāpam na caiva su-kṛtam vibhu ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānam tena muhyanti jantavaḥ nādatte kasyacit pāpam na caiva su-kṛtam vibhu ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānam tena muhyanti jantavaḥ pāpaṁ na caiva sukṛtaṁ vibhu ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānam nādatte kasyacit pāpaṁ na caiva sukṛtaṁ vibhu Na never. Ādatte, accepts. Kasyacit, anyone's. Pāpam, sin. Nor. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Sukṛtaṁ, pious activities. Vibhu, the Supreme Lord. Ajñānena, by ignorance. āvṛtam, covered. Jñānam, knowledge. Tena, by that. Muhyanti, are bewildered. Jantavaḥ, the living entities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Responsively, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Sanskrit word vibhu means the Supreme Lord who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life. Thereby, his chain of action and reaction begins. A living entity is, by superior nature, full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by ignorance due to his limited power. The Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. The Lord is vibhu, or omniscient, but the living entity is anu, or atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has the capacity to desire by his free will. Such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord. And so when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires. But the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with a circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary misery and happiness of life. The Lord is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma, or the Supersoul, and therefore he can understand the desires of the individual soul as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Desire is a suitable form of conditioning for the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desire as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not, therefore, omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires And the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute, independent living entity. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that one can attain Him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymns therefore declare, Esha yuheva sadhu karma karayati tangyang ebyo lokebya unishate esha u eva sadhu karma karayati yamado ninisate. The Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so he may go to hell. Kauṣītakī Upaniṣad. Agyo jantur anishoyang atmana sukha dukayo ishvara prerito gachet svargang vābrāmevacha. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful, and cognizant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord and is thus entrapped by nescience. And under the spell of ignorance, the living entity claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. The Vedanta Sutras also confirm this. Vaishamya nar grinye na sa pekshatat tvatatahe darshayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to. Om ajñānenāvṛtaṁ jñānanjana shalakaya chakshurun militam jena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Shri Prabhupada. So, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers the real knowledge. Hare Krishna. So we're fortunate to be able to hear the Supreme Lord through his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. You just heard 1 hour of, I'm sure, nectarine Hindi lecture. Now we can speak in English. But in all languages, the Lord is being glorified. And this Bhagavad Gita, the words of Krishna, are out of compassion for Arjuna and a compassion for all of us. Krishna's very personal, very loving, and people are basically in this material world kept in darkness because of their own desires. We have very deep rooted desire for enjoyment. Just like when we read, this morning we were hearing about Rasa Leela and Krishna's intense love for the gopis and love for Srimati Radharani, so much so that he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to experience what is this emotion that the devotees feel. What is that love that they're expressing towards me? Not that God cannot, but he's a person, the supreme person, the most beautiful person, the most knowledgeable person, very renounced, very famous, very strong, very powerful. So he's the Supreme Lord, and we're all His parts and parcels. Just like the finger is called a finger as long as it can serve, it can do something. But if the finger is chopped off and lying on the floor, you can call it a finger, but it doesn't have the function of a finger because it cannot serve the whole body. So we've somehow become disconnected from Krishna. And we're wandering in this material world, trying to fulfill our desires. Every living being, billions of living entities in this human beings. The animals are carrying on according to their animal propensities, and they have to go through the cycle. But human life is an opportunity for awakening our Krishna consciousness. Human life is an opportunity to wake up and again see what is the solution to my problems in life. And what are the problems? Matajis, don't talk, please. We're doing Bhagavad Gita class, so this is a sacred text for worshiping Krishna. So talking should not be happening now. If you want to talk, you can talk somewhere else. This is a serious subject matter because when Arjuna was hearing from Krishna, he was crying, he was bewildered, he was suffering, like all of us are struggling and suffering in this world, looking for happiness, looking for some kind of shelter, because we're eternal. Krishna's eternal, we're eternal. Krishna's full of knowledge, we have full knowledge, but it's covered over by ignorance. Krishna's Ananda, Krishna's always happy and joyful. So we have also that joyfulness, that happiness, but right now it's contained, covered over by a multitude of desires. And everyone is struggling very hard with the mind and senses. And the mind and senses, they drive us to perform different activities. So Krishna says, I'm not responsible for your pious activities or for your sinful activities. What is pious and what is sinful? Sinful is those activities which are performed against the will of God. Krishna, nature. In the spiritual world, everything is focused and centered around giving pleasure to Krishna. The more the stomach is happy, the more all the senses are rejuvenated and happy. Like today, Radha Ballabha Prabhu gave me Raj Bhoga at his, wasn't it, Radha Madhava Mandir. And so after taking prasad, all the senses feel invigorated and activated. But if he didn't feed me, and we don't take care of the stomach, then the hands become weak, everything becomes weakened. So trying to enjoy in this material world without focusing on Krishna or being guided, how can I serve Krishna? How do I serve the devotee of Krishna? What should I do? Arjuna is bewildered. Wait a minute, do you want me to be renounced and not fight and meditate? Or do you want me to fight and work or do something for you? You know, I'm perplexed because people see we're calling about the four miseries of life. Forced to take birth, forced to get old, diseased, and forced to die. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, doshanu, darshanam. The scientists have been working for many, many years. What have they accomplished? Atomic bombs, kill people faster. You know, why kill one at a time? You can kill hundreds of thousands at one shot, just blow them all up. And have the scientists made any progress whatsoever that nobody will die? Let me give you this pill, you will not die. But this body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. We are identifying this body as ourself. I was born in this nation. I was born in this family. I'm a Brahmana. Oh, I'm just a Shudra. When Lord Chaitanya was discussing when he came back from his South India tour, and devotees approaching, and Lord Chaitanya is so happy to see the devotees embracing. No, I'm just a Shudra, I'm low class. But throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it describes that one who takes up devotional service, he's better than a Brahmana. This whole Varnashram Dharma is specifically geared at engaging everyone according to their propensity in the service of the Lord. But in society now, due to Kali Yuga's progression, people are only interested in gratifying their senses. They're thinking that we don't have the lofty or the guidance of what is the spiritual world, what is actually our real purpose for coming in this world. They think everything's by chance. Maybe there's God, maybe there's not. Everything's just here for my enjoyment. You know, it's survival of the fittest. Whoever's stronger or a more intelligent thief, he can, try to be happy by accumulating great riches. You may have seen, like, sometimes the drug cartels, they have so much money and palatial building, but they usually don't live past late 20s. They try to enjoy with so much, women, wine, and possessions, but everything is taken away today or tomorrow. That youthful beauty is also taken away within a day or two. The gopis are complaining like that what happened to my youthful body? Krishna's attracted to, he doesn't get old and wrinkled. And every one of us are going to get in that situation where the body is no longer working. We have our devotee care project, so devotees are coming and they're at the end of their lives. So just like our parents may be 80, 90 years old, they can't walk, they can't function on their own, they need someone to assist them. So this is the embarrassing condition we find ourselves in. Although we are not these mortal bodies made of material elements, and no matter how many arrangements we make to enjoy in this material world, it's all temporary, flickering enjoyment, which is actually sources of misery. Like, I have an itch, so I'm scratching my itch, but then afterwards even more irritated and more troublesome. So that's how material life is, because we don't have parang drishtva nivartate, we don't have the understanding. So this is what process of devotional service is all about, that instead of dedicating our time simply for our family and for our nation and looking and just working, people in general don't like going to work. They have to go, sometimes travel long distances and labor all day long. I see some of the laborers around in the heat and carrying bricks and digging holes. And yes, everyone has to work and perform their duty, but it should be offered to Krishna. Then it becomes pleasurable. Just like devotees, when guided by Prabhupada, instead of going out trying to make money for my own sense gratification, we're distributing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We're giving knowledge to people, or we're engaging them by giving their Lakshmi for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. This is very auspicious for them. And devotees are taught these 9 processes of devotional service about hearing, chanting about Krishna. Even if no one is in the room, Prabhupada said, there's so many living entities, the bugs, the ants, the cockroaches. In a little hole you see thousands of ants. So when we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we're praying to Krishna, please pick me up from this ocean of birth and death. Place me as one of your servants at your lotus feet. And that sound vibration is benefiting all living entities. Haridas Thakur was asking, how can all living entities be benefited? Simply by the chanting of the Lord's name. So religious principles are the duty for human beings. And the highest religious principle, especially in this age, but all the time, but because we're very short-lived, we might live at 60, 70, 80, 90. How old are you, Radha? We're all getting older. But everybody, bahunang jamanamante, jñānamang prapajate, vasudeva, saramiti samahatma sadurlabha. After many, many births, in the Brahmanda Brahmite, Kone Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Beach, we're wandering so many planets, so many universes, so many forms of life. And whatever family we were born in, with our human intelligence, we strive to become happy, make a situation, oh, you know, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I have a beautiful home and nice vehicle, nice clothes, nice food, everything is good. What's the problem? Those who are poor, they can pray to God. I already have everything. But the foolish narrow-mindedness of that mentality is that we're going to grow old, we're going to get disease, and we're going to die. So for a moment of flickering, illusory pleasure, we're neglecting our duties and our responsibilities. It's not easy to actually mentally make that choice to surrender to Krishna, because we're very comfortable in our surrounding of friends and family. We're thinking, my family will take care of me, my nation will take care of me. But only in the society of devotees is there any real happiness. To hear about Krishna, some of you were here an hour hearing Hindi, now you're hearing English, because you wanted to hear about Krishna. You want to, what else is there to do? We're trying to somehow uncover that ignorance which is keeping us from seeing Krishna. It's like in the darkness, everything is dark. You can't see anything. But when the sun comes up, then all the varieties, all the distinction is made visible, and you're able to see clearly. So by devotional service, one can come to Krishna. And even though we may think, oh, it's such a long process, no, it's a matter of our intensity of desire. If we intensely desire that in this lifetime, I'm going to serve Krishna, I'm going to stay in the association of devotees, even though sometimes it may not be comfortable, sometimes we feel discomfort, like when you're on a boat and the waves are tossing and pushing, what are you going to do, jump off the boat? You're still going to stay on the boat. You're going to tolerate even though there's some discomfort there. So Prabhupada made this international society for Krishna consciousness so that we can all get up early in the morning, glorify the Lord, sing and dance, take nice prasadam, have festivals, glorify the Vaishnavas, chant the holy name of the Lord, and hear the Bhagavatam, Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya. And simply by doing our duties religiously, we may not have a spontaneous, raganuga, oh yes, I'm just so in love with Krishna, I love getting up at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning and running to the temple. That may not be the case, but by every day, diligently practicing, meaning that I'm staying clean, avoiding anger. We're hearing about the devotional qualities, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, and just these, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvagunas tatra samasute sura. We don't have to strive separately for developing good qualities. Simply by surrendering our activities to Krishna. Oh, I'm working very hard, making good money, but I'm using it for Krishna's service. Prapanchi kataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna. That whatever we see and whatever we're using the microphone, we're using the harmonium, we're using the AC, We're using so many scientific inventions for the purpose of glorifying Krishna. Krishna accepts, because what did Krishna say? Bhumir apanalo vayu kangmano buddhirevacha. Krishna created the earth, the water, the fire. He created all the elements. So you know what? Everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing belongs to us. So if one claims, oh no, this is my possession, that means you're a thief. So actually, everyone who is not engaged in Krishna's service and recognize the supreme authority of God, they're thieves. So we're in that category. We're thinking that this is meant for my enjoyment. But our natural happiness will come by awakening our Krishna consciousness, by helping others awaken Krishna consciousness, by spreading. Even Krishna told the cowherd boys in Bhagavatam class, you go to the Brahmanas, but don't be disappointed if they reject you. You can expect that. So he even told the cowherd boys that sometimes people may not accept your proposal, but you go here and they'll be very enthusiastic. I remember we worked in Miami airport, big airport, and many people would travel to South America and the Caribbean, Bahamas, Jamaica, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico. So Miami was a hub. I remember H.G.Pancagauda Maharaj would come often, and many, many people in our preaching work. And just being there and endeavoring to stop people and give them Krishna consciousness. Some people were amazed at the potency of devotees. How do you do that? It's almost like magic. Krishna's in the heart of everybody. And then sometimes you have a very difficult day. Nobody wants to talk to you. They all tell you, get out. You know, why are you bothering me? Go get a job or something useful. You're like a parasite. You understand parasite? They're like just sucking off of society and not contributing anything worthwhile. So sometimes we may feel uncomfortable, but if you're feeling satisfied that Prabhupada has given me the best treasure, touchstone, this is better than any kind of touchstone. This Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the holy name, can uncover the ignorance, uncover the darkness, and give us the strength and resolute determination. What is that? Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahu shaka hyanantascha buddhivyo vyavasayanam. Devotees are fixed in their determination. We want Krishna. We want to achieve the family of Krishna consciousness, because this is an eternal family. In Goloka Vrindavan, we heard about there's millions and unlimited quantities of gopis, Lakshmis. Krishna's not limited. He has unlimited spheres, all the Vaikunthas in Goloka Vrindavan, and so much detail is available. But not only by knowledge, erudite scholarship, being able to quote so many shlokas, it's that devotion. Krishna's looking for our love and devotion. And if we want to act in certain ways, Krishna facilitates it. You want to be sinful, that's, it's your choice. Krishna's not responsible. And if you're doing good work and good deeds and pious activities, it's very good. Krishna's happy. Just like when the rose is coming close, you smell it due to close proximity. If you smell the flower, so Krishna's in our heart. He's very closely related, and he understands what is our desires, whether we want to act in a way that's sinful or pious. But he's giving us the knowledge, he's giving us remembrance, and he's also giving forgetfulness. So people sometimes like to blame God that, my son has died in the war, my husband's died, or why so many bad things are happening to good people. But really good people are those who are taking up the process. And Krishna will give us the intelligence. If Krishna sees that we want to awaken our Krishna consciousness, He'll give us this direction. We might not have a taste for chanting the holy name, but we still chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you're in front of the deities and the chanting is going, you pray to Krishna and Balaram, you pray to Srimati Radharani, Radhashama Sundrita Vishaka, Shri Gornitai, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Goratvashe Namaha. The Lord comes again and again and again. Jeev Jago, Gaurachandra Bole. Wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? Like Putana came, she looked like a very beautiful, respectable lady, right into Krishna's place, and nobody objected and took Krishna. Here, have a little bit of milk, But her breast was covered with poison. But Krishna, he appreciated that she was offering such motherly love, but because she was demonic, he squeezed out her very life. So it's like that. This material world looks very dazzling and charming, so we're naturally attracted. But it's like the poison of Putana. It's all poison. Because our real happiness will come just with a little patience. We need patience. Utsahan nishchayat taryat tat tat karma pravartanat. Sometimes we're very impatient. We want things immediately. Oh, why is the government doing this, or why is the management doing that? All rascals, We always have to have some kind of a, reason for our melancholy, for our, so we feel like the reason why I'm not happy is because this person or this situation or this arrangement. But this is, if you look at the history, Prabhupada suffered. It appeared as though he suffered intensely. Couldn't get cooperation from anyone practically. League of devotees, and trying to get his paperwork and trying to get his passage to come to America. So much struggle. The Pandavas, just wanted one little village. No, I'm not giving you anything. And so much struggle throughout the Bhagavatam. So we may be struggling. The struggle is definitely there. In contact with material nature. If you're in the ocean and there's vicious animals like sharks and different kind of creatures that are ready to devour you, maybe crocodiles and this and that, you're fearful and all you're just in the water is turbulent. That's our situation. We've fallen into the material world, and we're embodied in these machines made of material elements. But the machine is a gift. Human life is a gift to awaken our eternality, our eternal spiritual consciousness. So if we utilize this vehicle for serving Krishna, hearing about Krishna and chanting about Krishna, offering arti, doing our puja, we're preparing nice preparations. We're going to offer to Krishna with love, patrang, pushpang, palang, yome bhaktya prayashati. So we're learning to cook for Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates. He let us, Ambarish Maharaj, a king, so he had great opulent dishes offered to the Lord. He gave the Mahaprasad. And so many beautiful flowers and very aromatic substances Krishna has provided. And that I am the taste and water, I am the sun, the light of the sun and moon, and the air is purifying. So much is there. It's a matter of awakening our consciousness. And the more we chant the Lord's holy name, the more we will have the senses tuned in to appreciate Krishna. Krishna is in everyone's heart. Brahman, you know, that he's in the heart of the dog, the monkeys, the elephants, the dog eater, the Brahmana. Krishna's everywhere. He's in everyone's heart. So we know that Krishna loves everyone, so how I can harm other living beings? What to speak of maintaining slaughterhouses or slaughtering babies in the womb just to satisfy your uncontrolled senses? We may think that we're criticizing or belittling the materialists who are blind to Krishna consciousness, but the fact is that they're committing suicide. This is wasting the valuable human life by not engaging in devotional service. We think, well, what is devotional service? Devotional service is, even if you don't like chanting, then sit down and listen to the chanting. You know, you don't know how to read. Sit down, listen to the class. You know, many things we may not have the spontaneous, natural desires for the devotional process, but by practice, it awakens. Like if you want to learn anything in this world, you have to practice it, isn't it? And any musicians or dancers, you know, you can't just go on stage and start dancing and performing without rehearsal. So this is our chance in this body, in this life, to practice devotional service. And by practicing, we're making very, very rapid advancement back home, back to the spiritual kingdom, more than we can imagine. They say, once chanting Krishna, more sins than you can commit have been erased. But we don't understand that, so better we just always chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Bhagavad Gita is packed with very deep meaning and also is spiritually empowered to awaken our love for Krishna. It's based on faith. We need faith, and faith is enhanced or strengthened by association. Isn't it Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajanakriya, Anartha Nivrittisya? So all the bad qualities fall away, all the good qualities develop, and soon the radiant knowledge which is covered by ignorance will guide us back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we have a few minutes. I'd like to end on time because, 7 o'clock's the arti. So if anyone has a question, comment, complaint, we take everything here.
A little confused by the second word in the synonym there, accepts, and it also assumes in the translation. And it's talking about Krishna not accepting or assuming the highest activities of the sins of others. What is that about? Because most of the report is about how people are bewildered by their own activities, just here it's talking about Krishna not being bewildered by other people's activities.
Yeah. It says, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities, and that everyone's bewildered by ignorance that covers the real knowledge. So that minute independence, Krishna is not going to interfere with. He's given us. See, Krishna is supremely independent. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. So we're the small part and parcels. And the reason we're in this prison house of material life is because we misuse our minute independence. And that minute independence gives us the freedom of choice. And our choices are either we're going to try to squeeze out the pleasure of this world, or we're going to question, who am I and how do I stop my sinful activities? So Krishna is not taking the responsibility. He's not forcing. It's like when someone forces a woman, it's called like rape, or it's called, it's criminal. So Krishna, he loves us. And sometimes you think, well, a parent knows it's bad for a child to touch the fire, so why didn't he stop him? Because Krishna is telling us, don't do it. In Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the Upanishad, he's saying, don't do the sinful activity. But if we're insistent, like a stubborn child, that I want to touch the fire, Krishna said, I can't take responsibility for that. So my understanding is that he will not interfere with our minute independence, and but without his sanction, nothing can take place. So he may sanction that we do, due to our stubborn nature, misuse our independence. Anyone else? Jai. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir.